course, going to be Brandon, and South Park, the fractured butthole.
I love fractured butthole.
We all like to fracture that butthole. But this game, if everybody remembers South Park... Okay. If anybody remembers South Park The Stick of Truth, that was a fantastic RPG actually done by Ubisoft, which actually surprised a lot of people. The RPG elements of it were amazing. It was a great game with a great story. It was way better, I think, than the actual South Park movie. Call me blasphemous if you want. It was like a full-length and even extra time-limited South Park episode that was uncensored and full go. And this seems to be the great sequel that I was hoping that would come out of it. Now, there has been some controversy about this one with a certain group of individuals, which are comic book fans like myself and comic book movies, since this time it won't be fantasy, but now they're making fun of superhero movies and comics. And I don't see a fucking problem with it. It's a joke. Learn to take a fucking joke. But I can't wait to get this game out. It looks good from the trailer. It looks really good.
Have we not learned yet that South Park loves to push any and everyone's buttons? So what is excluding us as the fanboys and fangirls of comic book heroes, period? What excludes us from getting that delightful insight of their world pointed at us? I mean, to be offended about it, it's just silly. I mean, if you are offended, don't buy the game. If you think it's going to be a fun game, go ahead out, buy it, rent it, do whatever you got to do, play the game, and then make your decision at the end on the game itself, not just what it bases its core elements around. Honestly, I would love to try the game because I tried Stick of Truth for a little bit. My brother-in-law had it, and I thought it was fun, and it was, like you said, a real classic throwback to like the RPGs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think people getting mad about stuff is just stupid. Everyone knew exactly what was going to happen as soon as they saw a new South Park game.
I mean, it's just as a fan of South Park, I mean, oh God, I don't even remember how long ago I started watching South Park, but I like I said, for us to be offended by it is just kind of silly. If anything, we should feel honored that they're willing to continue down this path of basically focusing the game on something that we all care about anyway. They can be assholes and be like, no, we're just going to pick on political people and make it a strategy game with, likeness of South Park characters. And we all would cry about that more than we probably cry about this, honestly, if you step back and think about it.
Most definitely. I think people just complain to complain. That's all it is.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Remo. You did say it was based off superheroes and stuff, right? Oh, well.
It's specifically Marvel.
Sorry.
Now, are we going to see, like, are they using likeness of those characters or actual, like, they went to Disney and said, hey, can we borrow some of the names, or do we know what's going on with that?
No, they're not using any direct names. All they're doing is pretty much making fun with how Marvel has made the franchise. So they broke it up into this 3 sets of things, and then they're like, okay, this is who gets this movie, this is who gets that movie, and then eventually they just split up, and then it becomes like they're making their own Civil War between between superhero South Park characters. That's what people are mad about.
I just can't stop looking at the picture that says fractured butthole.
They're pretty good with them damn titles. I will give them that. I know I read it the other day and started laughing. My wife looked at me like I had 3 heads growing, and I was like, what? It's funny. She's like, no, it's silly. You're silly. I'm walking away from this. I'm not doing this right now. But, so now is it going to play like an adventure game or like do we know how it's going to play though? I mean,
See, I don't know. Dan, didn't you get to play the first one? I wrote it down and I can't find it.
I did play the Stick of Truth.
Yes, that one.
That's more of an adventure game. I think this one will be too. Just because I don't think they're gonna divvy off from how they did the Stick of Truth. I think that went really well for being a South Park game that they like jokingly talked about on their show, and then they actually made it. But yeah, I think it'll probably be an adventure game.
I'm just interested. I'm kind of glad that they went the way of doing video games with South Park instead of movies, because the movie, I love the movie. The movie is a classic in my opinion, even though it's a lot of people like it's so tasteless and God knows what Rotten Tomatoes gave it. But I think the idea of them doing video games is pretty fresh, because if you stop and look at it, the next possible way for Family Guy or American Dad, one of these animated adult kind of themed TV shows can go is maybe a movie. But after that, what's next? These guys, they pretty much went, I want to keep my brand, so I'm gonna go ahead and do video games with it, which I'm okay with. The fact that it's superheroes, I'm okay with that too. I find it's funny, it's comedy, and they're just finding a different what's the word, outlet,
Approach.
look,
Yeah,
approach maybe, about it, and that's what's beautiful about the whole situation, in my opinion.
and not just that, but they're also huge fans of video games to begin with. So it's not that big of a leap for them. They've been trying to do video games since back on the N64, and they finally got it right with the last one. And this one looks like it's going to be even more so.
So, one of the viewers that we're chatting with in the thing, sorry, like mine's gone today, brought up the fact that the Stick of Truth got a lot of hate when it first came out. And are you kind of like witnessing? My question is, I don't think they're really asking. Maybe they had, but in general, do you think that the fractured butthole?
Yeah, I know.
I just think of like butt ramming, like that's it. But anyway,
ass rape in a prison.
Yeah, that.
So serious.
The army.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Justin. Shh. No. But no. Do you guys feel like this one will get the same kind of, I guess, view from it? Like, do you think it's going to catch a lot of hate?
Oh, most definitely. Like, the first game did everything that's ever been South Park. It's caught a lot of hate. In the first game, there was a fetus, a dead baby fetus brought back to life and made into a giant that you had to fight. You also got, I think, hit by your dad's balls in the first one. Yeah.
Sorry.
You go, like, dwarf size. So, yeah, in Australia, they outright banned part of the game.
Rated M for fuck my life.
Yeah.
Rated M for Mother of God. But
slap or do slap. No, I'm just kidding.
You actually had to give your dad a abortion also. But
your dad?
Yeah, he was trying to pretend to be a lady to get you inside the facility. Well, Kyle's dad. And yes, they didn't. Yeah. But
Yeah. Okay, I'm done. My bad.
Because his mom's a bitch.
His mom is very much a bitch. But
That's a big fat bitch.
So yeah, this one's definitely gonna catch heat from it.
Bitch.
Hey, I'm my bitch, your mama. But this one's definitely gonna catch a lot of hate for it, just for the simple fact that fanboys of comics can be such fanboys, and it seems like that's already happening just from that end. Let alone the obscene angle that a lot of parents and self-righteous assholes come from. So yeah, it's gonna catch some hate, but it's definitely gonna be a good RPG game, just like the first one. The first one was an awesome RPG game just by itself.
I just want one character named the Badger. That's all I fucking want.
There is the coon in it.
No, not the coon. The Badger. I know exactly who that is. That's Cartman. But I want the Badger if it's going to be likeness of Marvel and making fun of Marvel stuff.
Yeah, I actually have a Badger comic book, okay? It's an old school one.
It's not the kind of comic book that we're thinking about, though, is it? It's
no, but see, I would title it a beaver. The hairy beaver.
Nah, we know you don't like that. You like Badger better than Beaver.
Yeah, no hair for me. I like it smooth.
Anyway, moving along
Like
before
your
we
ass
get
crack.
to the topic of sex from masturbation after having little topics in between.
Yeah, like we already went there, Brandon. Sorry.
Hey, you went to the first time. I was just bringing it full circle.
I blame Brandon. He's
Yeah.
a bad influence. He's the
A
one
very
that
bad
makes us do
influence.
dirty things
He
on
really
this
is.
show.
Hey, I didn't make you
Game
do those
Talk.
dirty things in the army, okay?
Hey, the things I learned there, how
Are
to
you
satisfy a man.
That's fine.
The Army's
Okay.
gonna come
It's
after
Brandon's
us after
fault.
this show.
Some of us can clean an M16 with just our mouth.
Yeah, and I bet you could take the chrome on it. Okay, moving on.
Moving along.
Well,
next topic.
Justin, I guess we know.
Okay, now, hey, this has to go to
He's
YouTube.
doing Stranger in the Tub.